Guys, welcome back to Top Chair Sports. I'm Victor,
I'm Bredesen.
and he's our guest star for today on this week's episode.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
We may try and start doing more of this. We'll see how this one goes.
Might as well. Right?
Exactly. So, with that, it's Thursday. It's the start of another week of the NFL. We're going to jump into some of the big stories from the past week because, my God, a lot happened this week, and not much of it was for the good.
No.
So, first off, we saw so far in the season, this is now the first season where coaches are able to challenge pass interference calls, both when there should have been one and it wasn't called, and when it was called and there should not have been. So far, we have seen a lot more of the latter.
And it's been a train wreck.
Yeah.
It's been terrible.
I had a lot of hope that when they put this in after last season, it would really help. And they did institute it with the main definition of it has to be clear and obvious, and we have had anything except from that so far. So, like kind of Brett said, I think it's already taken a turn for the worse. I think it's basically now having to define a catch part two. It's nobody's going to know
Exactly.
what will be overturned. Nobody will know what should be overturned. It's not looking great so far. And although there was a couple that actually really changed possibly the whole how the game would go, the whole course of the game. The main one I want to highlight is that this week was the Saints-Rams rematch of the NFC Championship. This is the game that is the reason why this rule was put in place in the first place, was the NFC Championship last year. There was a clear pass interference that was not called. I still know how it wasn't called. Anyways, we moved on. I thought this game would be under a microscope from officiating standpoint. Aside from,
But in a bad way.
at one point, Jared Goff was hit as he threw. The ball came out. Cameron Jordan picked it up, was running back, and as he was about halfway down the field, probably past the 50 at that point, then the whistle blew and they ruled it an incomplete pass. They would have had a touchdown. There was nobody around him. He ran it the whole way anyways. They looked at it. Well, we looked at it, saw it was a clear fumble, but since they had blown the play dead, they couldn't reverse it.
Right.
I don't know why.
Awesome stuff.
I don't know why this is how it is, but anyways, that
Big momentum swing in that game, too.
It was
a
6-6 at the
game
time.
at the time. Huge momentum swing.
Yeah, I believe the Rams ended up scoring at least a field goal, if not a touchdown,
yeah.
on that drive.
So,
I mean,
people say, "Oh, the
ridiculous.
final score, like it wasn't that close, so that play didn't matter." Like at the time,
Yeah,
that changes the whole game.
That was a big momentum killer for the Saints. The other momentum killer for them from this game, Drew Brees broke his thumb on a throw. His hand collided with Aaron Donald's hand as he went up to block a pass. He, as we found out later, broke his thumb, is needing surgery, will be out likely 6 weeks, so weeks 3 through 8 of the season. They have a bye week, week 9, and he's hoping to be back week 10. That is the most optimistic prediction that we're really getting. He plans on being back week 10 at the latest.
Which makes the whole NFC South that much more interesting now, too. Wide open.
So Teddy Bridgewater could take over as QB. Taysom Hill could take over as QB. It might be a combination of the two. We're not really sure. Up until this point, Sean Payton has always made it clear that Teddy Bridgewater is his go-to guy once Drew Brees retires, or when something happens, and suddenly that may not be the case. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. They'll have a tough game to kind of sort it out this week, and we'll get into that. But yeah, not great news for the Saints as somebody who were actually my pick to win the Super Bowl. I don't see this hurting them quite as much as other people have. And what I'm going to do, actually, I decide from here on out, is every quarter of the season, I will kind of say, based off what's happened and where we are standing, here's my playoff outlook if I had to give it at this point in time. So we'll jump into that after week 4. The other big injury this week was Ben Roethlisberger on a non-contact play as they were on the Seattle half of the field. He threw a pass, immediately grabbed his elbow. It's it's bad. He needs surgery on his elbow. It's a season-ending injury. Mason Rudolph will step into that primary role now as QB. He looked solid enough in the rest of that game. Only had one pick, and that was not his fault at all. So we'll see what he can do in the future. This definitely hurts the Steelers' chances. I don't have the Steelers making playoffs anymore. I had them as a solid wildcard team before, and we'll get into that more. I think he's a capable QB, and I think you can hope for 500 out of him. But to ask to be a playoff team or even to win the division is a lot on any backup. So
hear that, Gardner?
Yeah,
it's a lot to ask.
It is. This is not.
That's now 2 season-ending injuries, 3 major injuries to starting quarterbacks in just 2 weeks of the season with Foles, Roethlisberger, and Breeze. Now it's not a good trend.
Now 4 total QBs, 4 total backups that have to be the starter for at least half the season.
Sam Darnold has mono or whatever.
Oh, I was looking at Andrew Luck and Jacoby Brissett. Brissett stepping in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of backup.
Not QBs a good trend though. Not a good trend.
Not at all.
We gotta stop that.
Hopefully this ends.
Yeah.
And yeah, the other big news from this week is Jalen Ramsey requested a trade from the Jags, and I'll let you take it away for this one.
Right. So this is not because of his sideline spat with Doug Marrone. Let me make that very clear. This has been building up for a while, and none of us are shocked at this, really. But for starters, that sideline spat was simply because Jalen was upset that Doug Marrone did not challenge DeAndre Hopkins' catch on 3rd and long, which, upon review, the ball did hit the ground, but Doug did not throw the challenge flag. They ended up getting a field goal on that drive, which actually, ultimately, I guess, cost the Jags the game when you look back at it.
But one play doesn't define the game,
right?
As we said before.
So that's why he was upset, and I'm okay with Jalen Ramsey getting upset. He's a very passionate player. He always has been. He just wants to win. So he was frustrated because he knew the ball hit the ground. He wanted Doug Marrone to throw the flag. So yeah, he yelled at him. I think this has gotten blown way out of proportion with the media and everything. They're like, oh, Jalen's a cancer in the locker room. Oh, Jalen's a hothead.
No.
Him and Doug Marrone are fine, I think. Now, Doug Marrone should be fired, but I won't get into that. That's a whole nother thing. Anyway, so this Jalen trade request...
I did not expect that.
Yeah, essentially, it's not surprising. I think the Jags should trade him. I think he's the best corner in the league.
I think he's a top 3, just no matter who you talk to. And if they don't agree with that, they're not reasonable.
But given that the Jags have made it pretty clear that they're not going to pay him anyways, so I think, especially with this Minkah Fitzpatrick trade now, his value's never been higher. And so I think you got to pull the trigger and trade Jalen Ramsey here. Long term, this will pay off. The ask is 2 first-round picks, they're saying, which would be incredible haul for the Jags.
It's a high price.
Frees up some room. Hopefully they can pay Yannick Ngakoue then. And ultimately, it makes Jalen happy, and I think it's for the best. But Jalen Ramsey in his press conference 2 days ago said a lot of good things. He was sticking up for his teammates, saying, I love everyone in that locker room. I'm still going to be pulling for them no matter what happens. Like, he was saying, I'm getting ready to play tonight.
It was a very positive press conference.
I just want to win.
On his behalf.
Yeah. So I thought he said all the right things. I think he's a very misunderstood player. He's just a very passionate guy. And
we do find a lot of
he's not an Antonio Brown where he's like just a head case. I think he's just... He's obsessed with winning. He wants to win. And especially given the disappointing year last year... And now the 0-2 start, he's getting a little agitated. He's itching to win. He wants
the outlook
to win.
For the Giants isn't necessarily the brightest either.
No.
Especially with Foles out, but even necessarily with him there, like, you weren't looking at being a top team in the AFC. You were hoping to win the division title and then maybe go from there. So
correct. I think he's a little misunderstood. I love the guy, but with that said, I do think just in the interest of him and the Jags, I think it will benefit both the most if they do trade him.
Okay.
That said, all these rumors he's going to the Titans, I really don't see the Jaguars trading him to Houston, Tennessee, or Indy. I would literally color me shocked if they trade him in division. I think those are the 3 last places he will go.
What about New England?
I don't think any other team's off the table.
Okay.
I don't think the Jags care enough to not trade him to the Patriots because of where they're at right now. Like you said, also their season outlook not looking great with Foles down. So
yeah. No, I definitely get that, and I think the only reason it was for the Steelers is because they look at them almost as more of a rival.
And the Steelers were a contender up until Ben went down. So yeah, you don't want to trade AB to the Pats. Yeah.
As in the Jags situation, like you said, I think it's just whoever gives you the best return.
Exactly. That's where he'll go. But not in division. Let's kill those rumors now. I can as a top cheddar analyst, I can promise you he's not going in division.
Promise. Here on Top Cheddar. With that, we're going to jump into our picks for the upcoming week. Last week, I went 10-6 in my picks, counting the Arizona-Detroit game as a tie, because if they don't count it as a loss, I'm not counting it as a loss. It's a little blurred up here, but I'm 21-10-1 on the year. Decent start so far. Could be better.
It's a good baseball record.
It is. It is.
Or hockey record.
You mentioned last week to me, not on the episode, that you were surprised I had 10 away teams winning. Unfortunately,
I did notice that.
I did not go perfect last week. However, 10 away teams did win last week, just not the 10 I predicted. I definitely see that switching. I have a lot of home teams this week. And with that, Thursday night game, Titans at Jags. Jalen made it clear he's going to go out, play his best regardless. I have the Jags in this game. I think it'll be very close. I don't know which Titans team to expect, whether they're going to drop 40 like they did against the Browns. But I think in a divisional game Thursday night at home, I'd like the rookie to go out and do enough that his defense...
The Minshew.
Yeah, the Minshew. The Gardner Minshew.
Yes.
I think he will do enough that this team gets by and the defense carries them to this win.
I agree, but I will say the Titans losing last week makes me expecting them to win this week. Typically, it's every other.
It's a flip-flop for them.
So, but we'll see.
With that, for the second week in a row, I'm going to pick against them. Spencer, I'm sorry. As our other Top Cheddar analyst, it's his favorite team. I'm taking the Falcons on the road in Indianapolis. I think the Colts are looking solid so far. I think Vinatieri needs to figure out what's going on with him before they've really finalized anything there, or what to expect from that position at least, because he has not looked great. I like to think it's just a fluke. But Atlanta looked solid against the Eagles. Solid enough, especially compared to the Vikings. I think that they're turning around. I have the Falcons in this game.
Okay, I disagree. I have the Colts. I don't think the Falcons look that good. They had a very, very banged up Eagles team with pretty much every offensive starter out. And despite that, they still should have lost if Nelson Aguilar could catch a football. So yes, they played better. I think the Falcons looked better. Certainly,
I think they're on the up and up.
But I don't think they're a good team still, and I really like the way the Colts have looked. So I'll take.
I also think the Colts are their easiest opponent so far out of the 3. With that, Cincinnati at Buffalo. Buffalo's 2-0 on the year. Didn't necessarily expect this. I mean, they haven't had the 2 toughest teams, but great for them. I see them continuing it. Bills Mafia at home. The Bengals have not looked great.
Yeah.
They're a little banged up themselves. Bills go 3-0.
I agree, and keep that stranglehold on the AFC East.
Yeah, hopefully take it from the Pats. We'll see.
Maybe.
Miami at Dallas. Miami is being outscored. I believe the stat is 10-102 in their first 2 games. They have a negative 92-point differential. It is awful. It is as if Will...
NBA teams don't get that bad.
It is as if Will was playing Mario Baseball on behalf of the team here.
Oh my God, literally, yeah.
Pathetic.
Minus 551 home differential.
But yeah, this game, almost my lock of the week. You could almost put as 2 locks of the week. In fact, we will. Make it your second lock of the week. Dallas is going to murder them at home. They're 20-point favorites right now. I honestly think they could cover the spread along with just easily getting the win. Dallas is about to move to 3-0. Any talking points for you? Oh, not to mention Miami.
Looks like a loaf of bread, I'm sorry.
Not to mention Miami just traded Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Steelers for a first-round pick. We didn't get into that really. One less piece they have to really help them win. One of their better pieces. So Dallas 3-0, Miami 0-3. Not a good look for them. Denver at Green Bay. Denver has actually impressed me with how they've looked this year.
Got robbed last week.
They did get robbed. That was another one of the blown calls, as we
that was
talked about
atrocious.
before. That one was awful. That being said, Green Bay, after their semi-pathetic offensive performance week 1, has looked solid enough in my mind that I believe they will defend Lambeau. I actually see them moving to 3-0. Close game, though.
Sure.
Detroit at Philly. Detroit hasn't looked too bad. They have. I am taking Philly at home here. My only concern is how banged up the receiving core is, because I don't think
Alshon is out.
Alshon will be there. I don't know if Djax will be there. So if it's just Aguilar, maybe look for Detroit to pull one away. But for right now, I have Philly in the win. Baltimore at Kansas City. One of the games to watch for the week. Baltimore has looked amazing. These are the two of the top QBs, technically speaking, for the season so far. We know how high-powered an offense Kansas City is. Baltimore has looked pretty impressive themselves. They've had two easy games so far to do that against, in the Arizona D, the Miami D. So I'm interested to see how they can compete against an actual high-powered offense and all-around good team. Oakland at Minnesota. Oakland, not a great team in my mind. I expect Minnesota to defend home and go Vikes. With that,
Skull.
Jets at New England. This is our other lock of the week. Patriots about to blow out the Jets. They're 20-some point favorites at home. They were already going to beat the Jets. Now Darnold is out. Now Simeon is out for the upcoming week. The Jets are in such a mess.
Trevor Simeon, that was gross.
I don't know if CJ Mosley is even going to be back. I don't care. This is the best Patriots team we've seen in a long time. I think they blow them out. Probably cover the spread there. Giants at Tampa Bay. Tough one to pick. Tampa Bay looks semi-impressive in their first two games. I think they defend home turf. Also, Daniel Jones has been named the starter for the Giants, and I don't really like the rookie QBs in their first appearance. So with that, Tampa Bay.
Interesting. You see, I did not know that. I like the Giants in this now, because I do like rookie quarterbacks in their first starts.
Really?
I think they always start hot, and then teams figure them out.
Okay.
So I'll take the Giants in that on the road. Their first win of the year.
Carolina at Arizona. This is my other game to watch for the week. Panthers have started 0-2. Cardinals are 0-1. We know with their late comeback that they ended with a tie versus Detroit in week 1. I think that the Cardinals are on a little bit of a momentum swing right here. Cam Newton is banged up. It's unclear if he will play or not. If he does play, I don't expect him at 100%. I think Kyler Murray goes out at home and gets this team their first win of the season.
Yeah, I disagree on this one as well. I agree Cam Newton has looked like straight garbage in the first 2 weeks of the season, but I just can't, in my mind, foresee a scenario where the Carolina Panthers start this season 0-3. I don't know what they're going to pull out of their ass, but I think they're going to find a way to get it done and get a win on the road.
Okay.
There's just too much talent on that team. Just feed McCaffrey the ball, whether that be through the air or on the ground. Just keep giving that kid the ball.
Yeah.
And you'll win.
When he doesn't get touches, they don't win.
Exactly.
Next game, Saints at Seahawks. This would have been a great game to watch with Drew Brees in.
Yeah.
I think it'll still be a good game to watch. However, we don't even know the quarterback situation there. And I think Russell Wilson will find a way to get a win. He always manages to do so. I have Seahawks at home with the 12th man.
3-0 Hawks.
Yeah. Not what I expected coming into the year, but I think that'll be how it is. Steelers at 49ers. This is tough for me to do. I have the 49ers here. The Steelers do not do well in San Francisco historically. I would have had them winning with Ben. I want to see how Mason Rudolph does in his first full game, but the 49ers haven't looked too shabby themselves, so I like them to eke this one out at home. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Pittsburgh might be able to turn around after that if they're going to pull out some wins. Houston at the Chargers. I have the Chargers winning at home. This will be a tough but good game. It really depends if the Chargers offense can get going. They did not really this past week versus the Lions. Houston, solid team all around. I think they get a little overhyped, and I'm taking the Chargers at home. Rams at Browns. Browns got their first win of the season. It was against the very banged up Jets, and their offense still did not look that great.
Really
in this game. Like, they had one impressive play where it was Baker to OBJ, and other than that, I haven't seen the Cleveland offense that I thought would be here this year.
Baker has really looked just like jittery or something these first 2 weeks. He has not looked like himself.
No.
And he is not making quick decisions. He's just holding onto the ball way too long every play.
I think week 1 was a mini wake-up call for them. I think week 2 still should be, because you did not go out.
Yeah.
And the score says you killed that team, but you did not.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the Rams to go in, maybe put them in their place for all the hype that's around the Browns. Final game of the week, Chicago at Washington. I'm very interested to see how this one plays out.
This is an interesting game.
The Chicago defense still one of the best in my mind in the league, but their offense is just awful. And the Redskins haven't looked bad in their first 2 appearances.
The Redskins could not easily, but they could be 2-0. Like, they have been right in both of these games.
They weren't really in versus Dallas.
They were for a while.
Okay.
And the Bears should be 0-2. In my mind, they're 0-2. I'm still sickened.
But that being said, I have Chicago going in on the road, beating Washington. Probably another tough loss for Washington. I think it'll be a trend for them this season. And yeah. So, with that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what picks you disagree with. If on the 2 to 3 games that were different, you agree with Brett or myself. Let me know if you think there's any other lock of the week that you have. Like, comment, smash the subscribe button.
And NFL, let us know what a catch is, let us know what roughing the passer is, and let us know what pass interference is. Leave that comment below.
And don't blow the play dead. Let them play.
Sure.
You can always go back and look at it.
Yeah, let's clean up the officiating a little bit, yeah?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Hey. Time for a 16-0 week.
On the Beer League Bench Talk.